Oh, and AJ has just thrown that one out of bounds as well.
So yeah, he'll have to rethrow. He never was in bounds at any point during that flight.
This might be the beginning of the end for AJ Risley.
Oh!
Wow. And Nate
there's
going
no beeline back there. There's no beeline.
just past the basket, but you just said a moment ago you want to see him put it inside circle's edge or right about there.
Well,
he's done exactly that. He did flirt a little bit with the OB line.
I was thinking the short side circle's edge, not the long side.
Well, he skipped just left of the pin, and now he's sitting with a 32-footer for the win, barring Chris Dickerson throwing this one in.
How about a skip for the eagle right here? It forced the pressure.
It would absolutely be incredible. Oh, and he pushes the OB line. Is it going to roll to the pin? What is it going to do? This could roll all the way to the water if it doesn't
curl.
sit.
It's going to curl. It's going to curl.
It's going to sit.
Oh, geez.
But we're going to move over. I don't think it got all the way into the water. Where is it?
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Chris Dickerson has rolled all the way into the water. The Ledgestone Insurance Open champion, it will be Nate Sexton. Wow. Nate Sexton, your Ledgestone Insurance Open champion. Congratulations, Nate. The crowd erupts. Holy cow, I do not believe what I just saw. My heart is still racing after watching that one. Try to sit down. You thought it was going to curl.
Well, when he first threw it, I thought he's going.
Hello everyone, my name is Austin Hannum, and this is what's in my bag for the 2019 season. I'm going to go ahead and go putters, mid-ranges, fairways, and then the high-speed drivers. So I'm going to start with my putting putters. I got two putting putters. I chose the Jawbreaker Challenger SS's. I just like these because they're super glidey, they're beadless, and they're just really comfortable to me. So yeah, that's just kind of, I go off the feel. Next up, we got a magnet, very old. I don't even know how old this disc is, but this is for more of like if I get in the woods, I'll be throwing this a lot, and kind of longer jump putts. If there's no wind, I like to kind of just spin this towards the basket and try to put it in. And then we got two zones. I got one ESP zone and one Jawbreaker. This disc is probably one of my favorites in the Discraft lineup. I like to throw a lot of sidearms with this disc, the ESP one. Backhands, I usually like the Jawbreaker. I want to throw it hard and with a little hyzer, and it'll just pop up flat and go really straight for me. So definitely check out the zone. That's all for my putters. Right now I got 4 mid-ranges in the bag. Start off with the Z Buzz. The Buzz is definitely my favorite mid-range I've ever thrown. Buzzes are just super straight and they go wherever you throw them, whatever angle you put them on. That's, yeah. And then I got the first run Buzz. This disc is awesome. It actually took the place of the Comet because it's just so old and beat up. I throw it flat and it just kind of holds over and it's just perfect for what I need it for. Third is this Ace Race Archer. This is another one that's going to be really good in the woods. I really like to use it for jump putts from like 100 feet. I like to jump putt the Archer and just kind of spin it again towards the basket. And then lastly is this Big Z drone. The drone is definitely an awesome disc. This hasn't been in my bag for 6 years. Definitely a very special disc to me. It'll probably be in my bag for a very long time. Next, I'll go with my fairway drivers. We got 5 of them. Start out with the Raptor. This disc is awesome for sidearms. I don't really backhand it a whole lot. But yeah, it's not very deep, so it's just a very good feel in the hand for the sidearm. It's real stable. I like to maneuver it through like the woods and stuff too. Next is the Predator. This is probably my favorite fairway driver. I like to throw, this thing is very stable. I like to throw it flat with a little anhyzer. I like to get it kind of high too, so just let it work its flight really good. But yeah, you definitely check out the Z Predator. Next up is the Big Z Vulture. This disc is really good for just like throwing them kind of really hard on hyzer, and it'll just get up and just have a consistent straight flight. And then it'll obviously finish left. Next is the Glow Stalker. This is kind of just like a longer buzz for me. Very straight with a little finish to the right. I won't be throwing this much out here in Arizona, but this is definitely a very good disc later on in the season when we get to the woods. And then also the Undertaker. This disc is pretty similar to the Stalker. It's a little more stable for me. I don't know if it's the plastics or whatever, but I like to throw this disc on some hyzer and it'll come up flat for a while and then it'll just finish left at the very end. So this is a pretty good disc. All right, lastly, we're gonna get into the distance drivers. I have 5 of these. I have 4 Forces. First up is the Nuco S, though. This disc has been awesome for me early in the season. It's been a little windy, so I mainly use this for the sidearms. I like to throw them really low with a little anhyzer and just watch them do its thing. Very stable. Would highly recommend to have one of these in the bag. Next up is the Z Force. This is one of the very early runs of the Force. Very pop top and very, very stable. I like to throw this disc really hard with a little anhyzer and just let it pan out and land with hyzer. Next up is a Z Force. This one's interesting. It's got the Eric McCabe stamp on it. I believe it was his disc, but this disc is perfect for this is my sidearm disc. I like to throw it really low with a little anhyzer to flat, and it will always finish to the right. So this disc is one of my main go-to drivers for sidearms. Next up is a Z Force. It's a newer run of the Z Force. It's got like a really pearly bottom here. Very overstable. This disc will be used a lot for just hyzers and just flat shots that need to finish left. And now lastly is the ESP Force. This is my go-to for distance shots for sidearm and backhand. Like to throw it flat and just let it turn, and it always finishes left. But yeah, this is my go-to for my distance shots. And that is all that's in my bag. If you would like to check out any of these discs, go to discraft.com. If you have any questions and see me on the course, then yeah, come up and ask. Thank you.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the Zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished that.
You're never getting each other's way. You like the interracial stuff? That's you're into that. You do. Previous. Hey Nate. You got something for that? What? No, man.
Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to 2000.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to second round coverage of the Ledgestone Insurance Open. It's moving day to day, you know?
Oh, man.
I'm Paul Uliberry. This is Pete Uliberry. Tell us about the card we have.
Today we have Paul Macbeth, Alex Russell, Reed Fiskira, and the other one is none other than Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fireworks show, I think, today. The scoring conditions have been pretty good out there today. We got to see some really good coverage with the women's card earlier. And now we have Paul Macbeth on the tee. What do you think of that shot, Paul? I think it's looking all right. He knows exactly where to play this shot. And it's a perfect position.
Next off the tee, from Vancouver, Washington, Alex Russell.
Yeah, hole 1 coming in as the 15th most difficult hole on the course, Pete. So it's actually playing pretty easy today. What you're going to see from a lot of these guys, there's force over turnovers. Alex Russell actually attacks this hole a little differently than a lot of people that we've seen. He has one of the better sidearms on tour, and he displays that perfectly. Just trying to get something inbounds, trying to clear the water, and knowing he doesn't have the power with that sidearm to go out of bounds left. So, in my opinion, a very good play. Might look a little awkward to the viewers, but yeah, just playing to his strength, which is one thing you're going to see about Alex Russell's game, is he is very composed and almost unassuming out there. As we see Reed throw this left-handed hyzer perfectly as well. A really difficult shot for a left-handed player, but he shows that, he has the control to do that. I mean, this is a daunting tee shot, for the first shot of the round, even though it's playing as the 15th most difficult, which is, the third easiest hole on the course. It's still, one mess up in it, and you can make a bad mistake straight in the water. And that looks perfect from.
Beautiful shot from Rick.
He's almost to circle 2 there. That's how good that tee shot was, Pete.
That's amazing. Paul, so what do you expect to see today?
I think it's a little early, but as I look at the weather report, it looks like the wind might pick up a little bit. So we might see some movement amongst the leader card. I mean, as we look, through the course yesterday with our featured card, they really struggled early and late. So it just depends, obviously Paul Macbeth came out with an extremely good round at 11 under par, kind of taking control of the tournament. But that's all it's going to take from somebody else is an 11 under par, a 10 under par, which we've seen happen before from other players. So, it really can go any way on a course like Ledgestone, where there's out of bounds and, 2-stroke swings lurking on every single hole.
Good point.
As we see, we'll be checking in with the leaderboard from time to time. As we take a quick look, we already see Drew Gibson going 2 down through 2 holes and tying for second place already. And we're going to see all kinds of different names kind of peeking up into that top 10 and dropping off through the whole entire round. So this is going to be exciting.
We have Kevin Jones at 4 down through 5.
Yeah, and that's showing you that, these conditions are very scoreable. One thing to note as we're actually seeing a camera view that you guys aren't at home is the beautiful gallery that's following this lead card. The Ledgestone always finds a way to bring out all of these people to spectate and follow their favorite players. So that's one thing that the leader card always has.
It's a big advantage. You can have the energy of the crowd following. You feel the energy of their wanting to see good shots, wanting to see good golf. I've always enjoyed being in the gallery, running around, trying to get the best view. If you're in the Peoria area, get out and follow the lead card. Go watch some world-class disc golf. Thanks to the Disc Golf Pro Tour for providing coverage so that everybody at home can jump online, watch along in any fashion that you have available to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. As I believe we're walking up to, I'm going to guess it's going to be Reed Friscara, who's going to be the furthest drive from the hole. Excuse me. And Reed actually is no stranger to this lead card and to success here at the Ledgestone. Obviously, he's known for his famous shot on 17, which I can't wait to get to see if he takes the famous skip shot off the water that he's now become, well known for.
Give the fans what they want. We'll talk about that as we get closer to that hole. As the players are getting into position, it looks to me like the wind is kicked up. It's going to be a little more challenging than it was this morning for other players. They're going to be in the heat, in the movement of the air in the afternoon. I'd expect to see the wind start to lay down maybe towards the evening as we get deeper into the round. But then again, we might also see the weather changed. There might be some rain coming in later. It looks like he's going to be lining up his forehand. That will be playing into the hill. Try and make sure he lands in such a way where the disc will either match the hill perfectly or get a slight cut roll and circle into the bucket or near the basket. And there it is, exactly like we were thinking.
Showing why this hole is playing fairly easy today, even though, you know, plenty of trouble to be had. You know, as I look down the leaderboard, I can see best round in so far is 8 under from Gavin Rothburn. And, you know, very good score. I'm gonna, well, as that shot gets away from Alex Russell, and that's gonna be left and out of bounds and pretty much unretrievable. As we saw our first mistake from this leader card. But then again, back to my point, Gavin coming in with an 8 under, showing us that, you know, earlier today you could score, and we also have Grady Shue coming in with a 7 under. And these guys are jumping 30, 40 spots with those scores. So that's telling you that, you know, not only are those good scores, those are great scores. And I think that's going to be the number that we're going to watch for today. If somebody can get to 7, 8 under, I think that's going to be, you know, the better scores of the day.
And you guys know this guy. Really trying to make sure he's comfortable with his shot. That's perfect. You know, Paul's round came in really hot, rated 1090.
Yeah, scorching, actually. And here's Ricky. Ricky's going to give this a run, Pete. We're seeing, well, I was hoping he was going to give it a run.
Well, thank you, Ricky.
I guess he's just saying birdie's good enough for me today.
It's not the final round, so maybe he's really just going to try and get his birdies, get himself in position.
I would have ran it.
Would you have run it?
Yeah, I think so. But after seeing Alex, you know, it looks like there's a left to right or right to left wind there. After seeing Alex kind of lift up and
really push over.
Head for the water, maybe that kind of, you know, made him play a little more tentatively.
It's like they're searching for his disc. Perhaps there's discussion where it went out, or maybe if it is out. A little bit high, a little bit left. The wind is really pushing right now. How hard of a putt was that, Paul, from down below the basket?
I mean, judging from Alex Russell being one of the best putters in the world and then, you know, missing it, I'm guessing it was extremely difficult, especially with it. You know, if you have your volume turned up, you can hear the wind kind of just whistling there up over that little knoll. So, unfortunately, Alex is going to be tapping that in for over par score, pardon me, and these guys are going to move into hole 2.
Hole 2, it's 8th in difficulty, averages 4.45, 615 feet. It's quite daunting. We talked about it yesterday, how you have to get down in a position right about where our camera is flying right now. And from there, you're going to have to make a very good upshot to get yourself in position for the birdie 3.
Yeah, and that's funny to say that it's the eighth most difficult because that'll just tell you how hard this course is. I mean, hole two is no picnic. Like you said, that you have to be in a specific landing zone. And then if you look where the basket is right now, you have that lake to the left, which is only 15, 20 feet from the basket. Upright is an out of bounds line that covers the entire length of the fairway. So this is no easy hole. And for it to be the eighth, kind of the middle hole for scoring purposes is a big surprise to me because I know I've bogeyed and seen lots of bogeys on this hole in the past, but this course is just playing very difficult, and we say that over and over again. It's going to become kind of repetitive this round, but that's the name of the Eureka course. Is just very tough and out of bounds everywhere.
Okay. Paul seems to be lining up the backhand.
And this is a surprising play to me. I know that
he's going roller.
I know he's done this play in the past. Very aggressive play. I mean, if you're going to throw it like that, that's absolutely perfect. But he also has the power with the sidearm to throw it around that corner. So,
I would have expected to see a forehand there also.
Yeah, he must have, a disc that's very dialed at that distance, and he knows exactly when it's going to turn. As we see Reed kind of line up the big wide hyzer. And if you have it, I feel like this is the safest play. If you have that, 400-foot hyzer to where you can take it with power over these trees. Not a lot that can really go wrong as long as you have a very stable disc. As he lands in a pretty good position there.
Now Rick is going with what we thought, the forehand line. He's got such a strong forehand. Is he going to put a little bit of flex? He's going more of a hyzer line at it.
Yeah, and this looks pretty good. It's got to get down, honestly. It looks like he's kind of pushing that out of bounds line. I'm not so sure if that one landed in bounds or not. Tough to see from that camera angle. We'll have to wait till they walk up to that lie. And Alex getting a little bit of flex on that one, and that one's got to hurry around that corner as well. Not sure about that one either. I mean, forgive us for this kind of staticky service we have right now. This is the part of the course that we've had difficulty on in the past of getting a very good cell signal. So bear with us, and we'll see if those guys ended up landing safe. We know Paul's safe, and we know he has, probably under 250 feet into the pin. So he's in position for scoring already on hole two. He birdies hole one. Obviously it's early, but he looks like he's in control of his game.
He's comfortable.
Yeah. Along with Ricky, even though we don't know if that drive actually did land in bounds or not. Yeah, I mean, these guys just really need to get settled in and find their groove coming into, what seems to be a classic battle between Paul and the rest of the field this year. He's been playing at a very high level, and that 11 down was 4 clear of the next best yesterday. So if he could do something like that again, I mean, we're going to see him really pull away from the field.
There's the gallery backing up. It is going to keep growing throughout the day.
Yeah, and Reed, it looked like Reed kind of got pinched and landed in between fairways. There is a left side that's a little bit more open than the right, but it looks like he kind of landed right next to that guardian tree and might have an awkward angle into the hole. Let's see if he can manage. And I believe that's the guardian tree that sits just outside the circle. So
okay,
that's
he's looking for an outside the circle putt, slightly downhill, possibly with some branches obstructing.
Yeah, and if you've seen the coverage from even this year, we saw him on one of the featured cards at the Portland the Portland Open, and he was just cashing putts from all sorts of distances. So we see one of the discs, as I get back to this coverage, we see two discs laying in the water to what looks to be both out of bounds at first glance. I think they're trying to discuss if Alex is actually out.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're both right there.
But yeah, so we see another mistake from Alex, and we see Ricky's first mistake going out of bounds. Both in pretty good position. I mean, after this upshot, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about what kind of rhythm they're in. If they can get up and down, no harm done. But definitely kind of staring bogey in the eye right now.
Looks a little bit low.
Yeah, that's going to be short and just about probably 45 to 60 feet. Yeah, that's going to be a tough putt, but he's definitely capable. And Paul just stress-free so far. That's going to be 5 feet for birdie, Pete.
That's a really good shot. He seems to be calm. He realizes he's in control of this tournament at the moment. He's in control of himself. Rick seems to have a pretty decent move on this shot, and he also puts himself within about 20. He goes a little bit past the basket, but I'd expect him fully to cash that. To get up and down for will be basically par.
Yeah,
if he makes that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a par if he makes that. As I do a leaderboard check-in real quick and see that Emerson Keith has gone 3 through 4 and is in sole possession of second place. And obviously he's played more holes than our leader card. But just a note to see the movement that we're seeing on the top 10 watch here. Andrew Miraweed at +2. So we're seeing some people under par. We're also seeing people over par, and he's moved down 6 spots to 10th place. Kevin Jones is 7 through 5 and making a run. We've seen him get hot this year, and he's fully capable of stringing together, 10 to 13, 14 birdies in a row. Here's Alex Russell, just a little bit low.
It's going to be difficult if he really needs to get those up. He really needs to make at least one of those. If you make one of those early in the round, it can really set the tone for what you just your whole play for the rest of the round.
Yeah, it'll definitely get you in a nice rhythm. I mean, it's so early. He missed 2 putts so far, but he's got 16 holes left to start capitalizing. It looked like he might have caught the branch to kind of keep him from having the height he needed for that birdie putt. But par's not going to really hurt him here.
Rick taps in for his par. Shows the level that they're playing at also, that they can go out of bounds and yet get up and down to save par on a hole like this that is that daunting.
Yeah, he made the right mistake and actually, took his out of bounds stroke pretty far down the fairway, which made his approach shot fairly easy. And, but nonetheless, still losing another stroke to Macbeth.
Hole 3's preview. You want to walk us through this one?
Yeah, this is the 13th most difficult hole, 260 feet. And we go from having, hole 1 being a wide open kind of power hole to hole 2 having a little tighter line. And now we're probably going to the tightest fairway on the course, Pete, 260 feet. This one has a few different ways you can play it, but I expect maybe a couple sidearms that goes where they're going to try to throw it down a gap on the left side out over that OB road, possibly the whole entire time. And I expect a few people to try to just go and take and aim right down the middle of that fairway. Mm-hmm.
All right, I expect Paul to go up the middle, right through that gap. He has the speed control. He has the height control. Any idea what disc he might be throwing? Do you think it might be a Luna?
I am not sure, but this needs to catch a good tree. It did hit a tree. I'm not sure if that sat down in time. I think it did. Yeah, I just didn't get enough flip up on that. But mind you, this is, all the way down that fairway is, you have probably about 10 foot of width on each side. So it's a tight line for sure. And I have seen Reed throw this disc before, which tells me he's going to aim right down the middle of that fairway with a semi-flippy mid-range. Oh, and that thing was
Just
tracking, yeah.
He had the flip. It was starting to move to the left.
And we've seen Ricky take all kinds of different routes on this one. I think in years past, we've actually seen him try that sidearm route over the out of bounds. And he actually missed that shot a few times. And he also misses the gap and goes left, but it looks like he stays in bounds as well. And one thing we know about Paul and Ricky is, even though they're at 60 feet, that they're always going to be scaring the basket for birdie.
This one's looking a lot better.
And that's a nice shot from Alex, putting it just outside the circle. That's one thing that I love about Alex's game, is he has not only the sidearm, but the backhand to back that up.
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not-for-profit, worldwide player organization dedicated to promoting the sport. Like a long drive off the tee, disc golf is soaring. So don't just be a witness to disc golf's explosive growth, be a part of it. Join the PDGA.
I practice a lot. It's a vice. An escape from stress, from work. It's my chance to just get away during the week. It's like meeting up with an old friend.
He puts a nice touch on the disc, puts it right next to the basket. He'll get up and down for his par. We'll get to see here really quickly where Paul and Ricky landed.
And that's one thing for the viewers at home to kind of take note of, is the best players in the world, they get inside of about 250 feet, and it's almost a guarantee for them to get up and down. It's one of the things that I think separates them from the rest of the field, is not making mistakes inside of that, as we see Paul, put a good run on that and just kind of miss a bit high. You feeling Ricky to make this?
I got a feeling he's got a really good chance at it. He really wants to take control and start making a move on the card. He really would like to cash this one for sure. It's just a bit right.
Well, what are you going to do? It's funny that we expect him to make it about 45 feet. And here's Alex lining up it looks like just inside the circle.
And he makes good.
He has one of the better putts on tour. I know we just saw him miss a couple on the last 2 holes, but that's why I said, he has 16 more holes to kind of get his rhythm, and he makes good from right at 31 feet. A nice little putt to kind of get him going.
Hole 4, 423 feet. You're going to want to make your shot straight out this gap. It gets really touchy down towards the end. The basket is perched up on a hill. OB sidewalk on the right. They're going to want to be pushing all the way down through this spot. It's such a tight fairway. The shul is on the left. And when you get down here, this basket being perched up, it makes it a very difficult green to attack. Every one of these guys can get themselves in position.
Absolutely. I mean, we have that mandatory tree on the right. It's really forcing them down this fairway. I think what we're going to see from the righties on the card is probably mid-range, going from left to right, or even a slight hyzer down, kind of pushing to the left side of the fairway. That's going to be the way to miss this hole, is into the woods, as Alex actually takes control of the tee pad. The one mistake you can't really make is missing right, because that sidewalk does come into play. And he really pushes that. This looks perfect, Pete, as long as it can come back out of that hyzer. And I didn't see the finish, but it looked
I think
beautiful.
it tucked up right on the back side of our view.
Yeah, and he couldn't have drew that up any better. I expect everybody to kind of take a similar line as Alex there, or at least try.
I think he was probably expecting that to flip a little bit more than it did.
Yeah, it looked like he got the nose up just a bit, and it didn't really push over. But like I said, that's the right mistake to make. He's not going to take a penalty. It's all going to depend on the lie that he has in the woods. If he catches a good break, fairly easy upshot, but it can get a bit tricky in there.
I hadn't seen the forehand line before, and I would have thought maybe he would have played a flip with his backhand.
Yeah, I think being left-handed, though, he had, like I said, the miss is going to be left, so I think he felt a little bit more comfortable with doing that. As Ricky takes dead aim, he's going to miss the big tree. This is going to go about pin high into the wood, so he'll have a putt at the basket, assuming he doesn't get stuck behind some of those little twigs in there.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
What do you think, flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
Here we see where his shot had finished up.
Yeah, it looked like he caught a kind of a bad kick to the right, and it stayed in bounds though. But like I had mentioned before, with these guys being on the lead card, once they're inside 200 to 250 feet, I almost don't even think that they're not going to get up and down.
You actually really expect them to, for sure. You can't really walk onto these lead cards. You have to be very, very, very good to be there.
Mm-hmm. Got to be on fire for sure. And here's Paul. He is in a tricky situation here. You can see all those little trees, and that makes for very tight windows in there as he decides to putt it. And
this pitch is out.
Yep, that'll be just fine.
I really like the way he played out right there. It's a lesson for the viewers at home. You don't always have to go directly at the basket. You need to look for position. Where can you get in position to make a putt? The basket isn't always the best place to go for when you're stymied.
And here's Alex's drive. I mean, this is a great shot, Pete. He's and he puts it right on the stripe. I mean, absolutely love his putt. Comes out so smooth, straight up, straight down, right on the pole. I mean, it actually reminds me a lot of a style between Calvin Heimberg and actually the other person on this card, Ricky. It's kind of a hybrid of those two. And he has just become so consistent this year with that stroke. And here's Ricky with kind of a tricky little lie. I mean, when you're in woods like that, it's just a bit annoying. You know, you have these little branches coming here, and he has such a long stroke that it just makes these putts tricky, even though he's only 20 feet.
Yeah, and he makes good out of there.
Well, he took his time. He checked.
Made sure he could reach for the basket and made sure that things. He made sure to take a good stance and where he could move around in there. Here we are moving on to hole 5, par 3, 476 feet, the baseball field hole. The play is if you're going to lay up, you're going to lay up off to the right-hand side of the field. You're going to push it out about, 300, 350 feet. I expect a bunch of these guys on this card to really just go after the green. The weather seems to be fair for them. This is the hole where a couple years back, Macbeth actually hit the cage and stuck in the cage. It was quite an entertaining moment. Paul, tell us a little bit more about what we should expect.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to see Macbeth play aggressive. I think we're going to see Ricky play aggressive. One thing to note is Reed Friscara being a left-handed player, he has to take it out. If he wants to play to the green, he's going to have to take this out over the entire baseball field. And that's 470 plus feet. So he's going to have to clear plus 500, right around 500 feet, as we see A. Russ kind of line this up. And I'm expecting him to kind of play a little not as aggressive with these guys. Yeah, he puts himself right in bounds. I mean, this is playing as the second most difficult hole, Pete. So it definitely has teeth. You know, the one mistake you can't make is short in the baseball field.
Yeah.
And I think that it's swirling a bit out there. We see Ricky actually change his mind at the last moment. Let's see if that affects the shot. It looks like the right height. Now we just have to worry about the distance.
And he has the distance. He played it a little safer on that side.
Yeah, but inbounds nonetheless.
Beth is lining up on the right side of the tee, Paul. Do you expect him to go flex?
Yeah, I think he's going to play like more of a flat shot that hides or flips up. Yeah. And this looks perfect, honestly. Go in the hole.
Excellent shot. The fans got to love that.
I mean, just great distance control, and that's all that's all there is to that, you know, him just knowing his game and playing the perfect disc at the perfect height at the perfect speed. And Reed is a very aggressive player. I expect nothing less than him, you know, like I said, taking on all 470 feet. And he has plenty of power to do it.
Okay.
It almost looked like he was throwing with a smile on his face right there.
He's in, and he's got an excellent shot.
That's an amazing display of power from Reed right there. Like I said, he probably carried all of 500 feet right there.
Yeah. Here we are with Alex getting ready to throw his upshot. About how far is he setting there, Paul?
250 feet.
Like you said, inside of 200, inside of 300, you expect him really, especially in an open hole, to get up and down.
I do, and when I say that, I expect them to get into the circle. And once they get in the circle, I expect them to make the putt. It's putting that really comes down to what I mean when I say that is they should be giving themselves opportunities in the circle to get up and down anytime at 250 feet and in. And that's, you know, whether it's a tricky shot when they're in the woods, they'll find a way to do that. And that's one thing you'll see in the top, you know, 20 players in the world that they do almost better than everybody. It's tough to find strokes to pull yourself away from the field. And obviously distance is great and great putting, but it's also those fine little things that you have to be really good at.
The ability to scramble.
Yeah, the ability to scramble and to make sure that it's just a formality when you get inside 250 feet to give yourself a look.
And also to note, he put himself exactly where he wanted on his drive, and he's put himself exactly where he wanted on his upshot. This wasn't a scramble. He just did exactly what his game plan was.
Yeah. One thing Alex is very good at is just sticking to his own game. You know, he saw Ricky go kind of after it, Paul go after it, and he, you know, just throws his game, 2 shots under 300 feet, and he's going to tap him for par. Surprising miss there from Reed. He's usually phenomenal putter inside the circle, but nobody's perfect.
Paul makes good.
Momentarily pushing his lead to 7 shots.
Hole preview, hole 6, par 4, 897 feet. Paul, this is coming in as the most difficult hole in the course. Yesterday, we saw it pick apart several of our players. It is a daunting run that forces you to play accurate golf.
No, absolutely. And I mentioned yesterday, I mean, it's called a par 4, Pete, but this is a par 5. And, that's my opinion. We see on the day there's been 1-3, which is considered birdie. So, and yesterday we only had 1-3. So, I mean, to say that we're going to see a few birdies on this card is probably just not going to happen. I mean, obviously, Ricky has the power, Paul has the power, Reed has the power, Alex has the power, but this hole is so difficult. You have out of bounds carrying the whole entire right side of the fairway, the whole entire left side of the fairway, as it bottlenecks towards the basket at the end of, the hole. It's just too risky.
Pressure, the closer you get to the pin.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you want to play aggressive on this hole, I mean, it's just normally going to bite you. As we look at the scores right now, and just shifting, always shifting. We see Kevin Jones 6 through 10 holes, making his way to second place. We see Emerson. He was a few down, and now all of a sudden he's even par through 6 holes, along with Drew Gibson. Garrett Gurthie making a small move. Matt Oram making a big push at 4 under par. Simon Lozote showing his face for the first time on the leaderboard. I mean, we're going to be seeing this the whole round, especially on a course like this where you can have 2 to 3 stroke swings on almost every hole. Especially, I love to see the leaderboard after we're done playing this hole, because I guarantee
it's going to move.
Some new faces are going to peek up in the mix for sure. And I'd be very surprised to even see any of these players go after the birdie 3 on this hole. As we can see these Discraft banner flags, the
going
wind is
straight
blowing
into the face.
Yeah, wind's, blowing straight at us. So as they take this long walk, I'm sure I've sat down in that exact spot that Ricky sat down at and was just like, well, there's no way I'm getting 3 on this hole.
How much would you typically want to bite off on your tee shot?
I mean, honestly, I look at this hole, like I said, as a par 5. So at 800 and how far?
897 feet. Let's just call it 900 feet.
At 900 feet, you're looking at, you throw 300 feet, 300 feet, 300 feet. And for most professionals in the world, that's going to be very doable. So if you can get that distance on every shot, you're looking at a tap-in par.
Excellent point.
That's how I would break it down. Now, if I had Macbeth power and I had a stable disc, I might throw it to 400 feet, then maybe a little bit short, and it just makes the hole that much easier. But
with a headwind like this
hole is as difficult as you really make it, honestly.
That looks to be rising on him. Looks good.
I mean, I'm thinking he wanted that to flip up a bit more, and he did take on that OB to the left, but the fairway is very wide. I would be very surprised to see anybody on this card throw it out of bounds.
It's like a nice clean shot, just like you said, play out to the fat part of the fairway. That looks very good also. Paul, I've always found it interesting the way that Ricky comes through on his shot. His swing seems to just put the disc at a different angle than what I'm used to seeing. Is it just the way what I'm seeing is that he comes through, he hits, and his hand finishes high?
Yeah, I think
I really enjoy his swing.
I think he's just focusing on that follow through, hitting the angle that he wants, and he rarely misses his angle, so he's doing something right. Here's Reed throwing a very good shot. Yeah,
That's
everybody,
excellent.
first step of the hole is done. They've all accomplished what they wanted to do, and now comes the tricky part.
The 2019 United States Amateur Match Play Championship continues with our doubles bracket. Local doubles qualifier match play brackets will be held throughout the United States and Canada through July and August. The championship bracket will be hosted in Emporia, Kansas on September 27th through the 29th. In the players pack, each player on the teams will receive a Dynamic Disc Biofusion Raider and a Latitude 64 Gold Burst Pioneer. Make sure you go to discgolfmatchplay.com for more information for the tournament directors and for the players. We can't wait to see you out here in Emporia, Kansas for the championships.
Here we see they progress down the fairway.
Yeah, and what's tricky about this next shot is the fairway starts to get very small. And so that's when, you have to make that decision. You just threw it probably right around 320, 350, 400 feet, somewhere in there, right? And now you have to throw a shot within I would say about a 45-foot radius. The fairway kind of slims down. And as we saw it being a headwind off the tee, you kind of switch, and that's not helping. I think
playing at an off angle with the wind.
Right, and so it just makes this a lot tougher. And that's the mistake we see a lot of people make right there is he flipped that one up and kind of taking on that OB line. I'm guessing he didn't want to be that close to it. But I mean, safe, and he's going to take that have easy up shot from there.
Absolutely. He's in really good position now.
And this is interesting because now Alex is playing this hole almost exactly like I've played it in the past. Throw it 320 feet. And now he's going to throw this kind of at that birdhouse over there is always my marker. Let's see if he does. Yeah.
Right. You guys shared notes?
No, it's just, that's a really good marker in the fairway that I've used in the past. If I can throw it to there, I know I'm going to be in bounds, and then I only have, 200 feet into the green. So interesting to see Alex play it that way. And Paul's going to go for this, I think. He's taking his time. He has his red disc out, green light. He has, 8.
He has all the strokes in the world to really feel like he can go for it, and then just push the gas more.
Does he need to? I don't think so. Is he going to? I think so.
He likes to. And he likes to.
I mean, he threw that very well, but he's still outside circle too. So he played that out of bounds line very close. I mean, one little drop in the wind and he's out of bounds, and he has to almost take it, only 100 feet in front of where he is. So did he need to? No.
He could have put more on it, for sure, with as much out of bounds as he took into play. I'm not Paul, though.
I am.
You
see
are
what
Paul.
I did there? This looks a little better. And it is that circle's edge. That's going to give Ricky a chance for only the second birdie of the day.
That's quite an impressive stat, as this hole is playing the hardest for the event thus far.
Yeah, as we see Chandler Fry peek up into the top 10. Jeremy Colling for the first time, 3 down through 10 holes. We see Kevin Jones keeping that round going, 7 down through 11 holes. We're becoming accustomed to seeing Kevin on these leader cards. As we see all the nice banners of all our great sponsors right there, including all of the support from the spectators. I mean, that's a lot of people coming up to watch the best players in the world and their favorite players. And
how much entities does that give to you as a player on the course, Paul?
I mean, obviously,
I would rather play in front of people when I'm playing well.
Yeah, exactly. "250 feet," puts himself right in the circle. Didn't get a lot of claps there. I think he might have left that one a bit short.
I don't see very much movement on the trees right now.
Yeah, seems like it's a bit calmer than we saw on the tee pad.
We are tucked in near the woods a little bit, that tree line, and that could also block a little bit of the wind. This is pretty much just a simple chip. Make sure he plays it wide enough and just let it bring in the natural shape of the disc.
Yeah, pushes it to the back side of the green, but in the circle, and definitely makeable, even though we saw on the last hole him miss a putt in the circle. So this will definitely be a kind of a little tester for him. I'm sure Paul's going to try to scare the basket a bit here. As the crowd remains completely still.
Not quite. And he'll have a tap in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rick is on the edge of the circle. And not much of a scare to the basket that time.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing Ricky miss that bad. But, we just got to say it. I mean, that was a very bad miss. Alex gets a little bit of a lift there, so there might be a little more wind than
Than we're feeling.
We were saying that it might be a little bit calm, but the way they're reacting to these putts and the way the putts are reacting to the strokes they're giving it, it doesn't look like that's the case, as Ricky almost putted that out of bounds, Pete. And Reed makes par there, but
that's not a typical miss that we see from Rick.
This is the number one most difficult hole on the course, and it takes another casualty right there with Alex taking bogey on the hole and showing you that if you don't capitalize on those inside the circle putts,
it's going to get you.
Yeah, eventually it's going to get you.
Hole number 7. Playing is the second easiest hole on the course. Paul, it's 275 feet. Straight down this gap, you have an OB creek off behind the bushes, and you have the sidewalk on the right-hand side. This one, we've seen several different shots. Some people take a little bit of a forehand. Many of them will probably take a putter right up the gut. And you just want to beat these trees the tree right here with the Savage sign, that's going to be one that typically gets in the way if you're a little bit early to the right, if you turn something over a little. But I think that we should see them. What shots do you think we're going to see?
I think we'll see a sidearm from Alex. I think we'll see a sidearm from Ricky, and I think we'll see a couple backhands from the other two players. I mean, although this is, playing as the second easiest hole on the course, you still have to hit a very tight line, much like hole 3 that we saw earlier, and we saw them struggle a bit with that. So it's a different kind of feeling coming off of a wide open power hole and then having to throw something on such a tight line. And it looks like Paul's actually stepping up and going to throw a sidearm here as well. The one thing I do like about this is it makes the fairway a bit wider as he does get a skip, and he puts that in the circle. He'll have putt for bird.
So you're saying basically the fairway slightly opens up to the left after this initial gap, which allows the sidearm to work a full flight?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that tree on the left just kind of pinches the backhand line to where you have to throw something that goes straight and then bends right at the end. The sidearm, you can just take that fairway and almost be able to miss a bit left and right while maintaining penetration down the fairway.
That's definitely a misfire. He wants to get further down the fairway than that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a tight hole, like you're gonna see one out of almost every group kind of hit early on this tree. That's a typical score on this hole, I would think, would be 2 to 3 birdies and maybe a par, or 3 birdies and a bogey, something like that. If you were to look at the scoring spread, I'm thinking. And Alex throws that perfect and then almost skips it up and catches a little metal. So we just saw Ricky on the last hole from about this distance completely airball it. I would be willing to bet money and lots of it that he doesn't airball this one.
Not a chance.
As he makes good from about 28 feet there.
There you go. Well, according to the stat you were talking about a minute ago, the hole is setting at 49% birdie. So we're just one over on that. We got 75% of our card got birdie.
Yeah, retapping him for par. It's disappointing par. You really want to get this one, but at the same time, you do have to throw it down a thin gap. So there's a good look at one of our sponsors, Savage Apparel. They're making some nice clothing too for the disc golf world. What do we got here, Pete?
We have hole 8, par 4, 793 feet. You're throwing through this gap if you're going to get really aggressive with it. I expect all of them to get through here. And then you have a very, very tight approach into this narrow gap with the basket perched in the middle, about 10 to 15 feet from water, and OB on the right.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to note is that gap that the drone actually flew through, you have to go through there. Otherwise, you have to go to this drop zone. So there's really two routes. You either go through the middle or you try to take wide hyzer out over around everything, which plays very, very far. But they have no option to lay up short. That it's almost considered an island. Well, it is considered an island. And if so, then they have to play from a drop zone on this side of the fairway. So this is a very demanding tee shot. And Paul pulls that a little bit, but I mean, that's plenty far down the fairway. First step done for him. Now he has to play about a 320-foot shot into that very narrow landing area that you were talking about. Let's see what Ricky has in store for us here. He's throwing a Huck stamp. I believe that's a destroyer, and he gets through. He's just fine. I actually like where he is a bit left because now he can kind of play hyzer into that, landing area, which is a little bit easier than being directly lining up at it.
He took the forehand route. How about his angle? He's going to have another forehand route back into it.
Yeah, I think so. One thing about Alex is he really relies on that for his very accurate shots.
Okay.
He has one of the better sidearms really in the game. His game reminds me a lot of a Nate Sexton or somebody like that.
What do you think of that? That looked pretty high.
It looked like he was trying to do a big high flex route between the gap there, and he pulls it a bit into the left foliage there, and I'm not sure if it looks like they're giving him the green flag. So even though he's in that bounds though, Pete, he's going to have a tough time getting this in position to then throw an approach to hopefully get par. So he's kind of putting himself in a bad spot right here.
The way you've played it in the past, have you typically go backhand, forehand? You oftentimes would lean on your forehand to get in tight spots if you're a little stressed.
The way I've played it in the past is I usually throw it out of bounds, then I throw from the drop zone, and then I throw it out of bounds again, and then I make my putt from the out of bounds, so I take bogey. Usually it's the way that I've drawn it up in the past.
I'm sorry. I feel like that was a little bit of a sore spot.
If I were to play it perfectly, I would try to throw full power through that gap, end up a bit left, and then have a nice hyzer flip up with maybe a mid-range or something that can land soft in that green. And that's where I see people have really a lot of success. As I believe Reed is looking to see, is he at the drop zone? Where is he? Looks like he might be at the drop zone. Okay, yeah. He is. I thought they gave him the green light, but sorry, not green light, the green flag. But it looks like he did end up out of bounds, or this is a provisional. I'm a little bit confused myself here.
This is amazing.
Yeah. I was going to say that Reed's, after the out-of-bounds shot, is trying to play it like me, but yeah.
That was a pretty unreal shot.
Yeah, that was fantastic. He's going to have 70 feet to safe par. That is one thing about this hole. If you do mess up on the tee shot, it's pretty much a guaranteed bogey because you're so far back. I mean, he threw that all of 520, 530 into a tight green, and you can't really get any better than that.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag. Zuka is now...
And it looks like Paul's turned this over just a little bit. There is water over there. I'm not so sure if he landed safe or not. Yeah, definitely a mistake by him, though. As we were going to the commercial break, we saw actually Alex Russell just throw his approach shot and lay up kind of by that stump right there. And here's Ricky playing stable putter on Anheuser. If this flexes out, though, this can be in trouble of the out of bounds as well. Looks like he carried enough distance, though. He's gonna be kind of be snookered in back there and have a tough putt, though, Pete.
Like we said, this hole is really difficult. It's as you can see, a couple of the players had really good drives, and yet they still have to manage getting into this gap, past this stump, landed on this slight hump in order to have a chance. Now, if they did go out of bounds, they're looking at taking a number.
Alex was choosing between sidearm and backhand approach. It looks like he decided to do a jump putt, and this could get away from him, and it does.
Seemed like maybe a little more indecision.
I mean, that's just, yeah, that might be a product of indecision, but I mean, just a mistake you really can't make. He's 100 feet right there. He jump putts it, and maybe the wind got a hold of it or something, but yeah, maybe needed to take a little time. I mean, that's just very rare to see of a player of his caliber. You usually see that typically if a player is trying to run it or make it or something like that, but it looked like he was just trying to lay it up.
Looks like a big gust of wind is coming through. And he goes.
That's the best save. In front of the tee pad, Pete. He basically just two'd the hole. And Paul is out of bounds, it looks like. Depending on where Ricky is, you know, this could be one of those two-stroke swings I was talking about. Very surprising to see him lay that putt up, but with the lead that he has at the same time, you know, just probably trying to pad.
Make sure he doesn't give more away.
Yeah.
We're not feeling the air that was going. We saw the air moving quite a bit when Reed just smashed that putt. And Rick puts this in. Alex is looking to get his lie. He said he threw it into the water from maybe 100 feet, a little bit more. He really needs to get up and down and make this putt. And he does.
And he has to switch putters there, as he just looked like he threw his main putter straight in the drink. As Paul taps in that bogey, that's going to bring, you know, Ricky within 5 shots of the lead now. And that's not insurmountable at all. It's going to bring Kevin Jones only 4 back, who is 8 down through 12 holes. as we come to what I believe is one of the easier holes on the course now, Pete, known as the bridge hole. You're going to see all of these guys just kind of throw stable backhands out over this area where the drone's kind of flying. They're almost going to be trying to flight their disc where the old basket used to be, which is right. And as long as they get the height right, I mean, then throwing into this, basket with the barriers behind it. I don't expect any of these guys to miss this, honestly. And in fact, perfect time for us to get an ESPN moment right here.
Let's go.
I'm calling it. So one of these guys is going to come really close to acing this hole. And there's the scoreboard up. As we see Macbeth now move down to 14 under par, and Kevin Jones 8 down through 12 holes. I mean, that is scorching it right now. Reed hanging on at T4 with Emerson, Garrett, Jeremy now 5 down through 12 holes. There are
some good scores starting to be posted. They're making the moves. Like you said, this leaderboard is going to jockey throughout the day as players go through easier and more difficult portions of the course.
Yeah, but for the most part, we're not seeing somebody, typically a player, let's use Reed, for example. Reed is only 1 down through, what is it? 1 down through 8 holes, Pete. And typically on a different course, he's losing 4, 5, 6 shots to somebody else out there. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing him kind of maintain his position at 4th place, and he's only 1 down. That tells you how hard this place is as Ricky lines up for the ESPN moment I talked about. Nope. Come on. I want to see it. It just, this hole just plays for a stabilizer. Yeah, straight into almost a catcher's mitt onto the left. There's really no trouble, especially with how good these players are.
They just need to throw it into the strike zone.
I forgot about Reed. He has to throw sidearm, which is pretty difficult to get that distance. So I don't know how far he actually throws his sidearms. Let's see if he can get this one all the way there, Pete. And he threw that and slipped at the same time. This will have plenty of distance to get left and inbounds. So that's around circle 2. One of these guys has to make me and not into a liar, please. Pretty please.
Yesterday, Macbeth sent you a message and said he parked this with a Luna. Is he doing the same today, or do you think he's throwing more of a driver?
So he parked the next hole with a Luna.
Oh, it was the next hole.
Yesterday, Pete, our featured card, all threw it within about 4 feet of the basket. And then today, nobody's really scaring the basket at all. So Alex Russell's going to save me right here. No, never mind. All right. And that's when I start going down the tubes as a commentator.
I can throw this disc around the world in 1 shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Wear what the pros that film the pros wear. Savage Pro Tour apparel. Full body dye sub technology. Sweat wicking polyester. Lightweight Cirrus jersey.
Alex had gone OB on his first shot, and he had to go forward to the drop zone.
Yeah, I
from
didn't
the
even.
drop
I
zone.
actually missed that. I thought that he hit the hillside and then rolled back inbounds there. So we're seeing Alex with another mistake. As we come into this hole, I really thought that they'd be able to play that one a little easier, but we're not out there. The conditions might be a little more tough, maybe the wind or something like that. He was able to put it in the circle and give him a chance to save bogey, but for the most part, definitely not the drives that I thought they would have on this hole.
Perhaps yesterday we just got spoiled.
We
said
definitely
everybody parked it within 4 feet of the basket. We had one of them, was it Brian's shot hit the tray or skipped up and hit the tray?
Yeah, something like that.
One of them did.
Yeah, this one was I saw on the message board somebody said not top 10, and I'm going to agree with that. As we see, I guess that was Alex's drive. Yeah, that was Alex's drive that we just saw on the outside of the OB line there. And it would be nice to see Reed, line this one up and make another one. I mean, we just saw him hit about 80-footer on the last hole. Would have been nice, but it's not nice. I think he's happy, with a score of 3 there, though, being not a sidearm predominant player. Probably expecting, par on this hole, I'm guessing.
Just making sure to get out the gap and get on the green. Ricky really puts a good one on there.
We weren't really talking about Ricky at the beginning of the round. He only went 2 down through 6 holes, but now he's, no bogeys on the card, and he's racking together a nice little turkey right there. As Paul pulls that putt and misses a very makeable, inside the circle putt there. This is
all of a sudden Ricky is getting within reach. Okay, Alex needs to make this. And he does. So he made a mistake, threw his next shot close enough, made his putt. He'll only be giving up 1 on the hole.
Now Ricky has moved into a tie for second place, only 4 back of Paul. And as we wind down on this front 9, we see, 2 players dig into that Macbeth lead, and all of a sudden, you get the feeling to maybe he's leaking a couple strokes. As we saw on the front 9, it looked like he was in control, but the Eureka course can do this to you. It can kind of just wear you down, a stroke here, a stroke there. We saw a 2-stroke swing and then another stroke, all of a sudden 3 strokes to Ricky in 2 holes, and we have a ball game, coming into hole 10. Only 4 back with a round and a half left. I'm willing to say now this is, no longer – Paul is no longer in complete control of the tournament.
Yeah. We just saw the flight preview of hole 10. It is the 16th most difficult hole on the course. What do you expect to see them throw down this, Paul? Yesterday we had a fairly, we were talking about it, the 450-foot mark. I kind of expect all these guys in one way or another to be in the circle.
Yeah, I mean, the trick is just to get past that wooded line on the right. They're all going to be throwing pretty stable discs, I believe. And you can see Ricky's clothes kind of blowing in the wind right there. And the Discraft banner right there gives us a good indication that it's kind of a head left to right crosswind, which some people might think that is not a helping wind, but it actually is a helping wind for a shot like this, because you can take your stable disc, put it on a little anhyzer, and know that it's going to hold a little straighter. And he puts himself in position. I mean, obviously he would like to be a little closer, but seems like he's kind of found his rhythm with his putt and maybe be able to knock that one down to keep the pressure on, just depending on where Macbeth's drive lands.
This should fit Reed's shot shape well.
It should, but it didn't. He throws it into those into the wooded line on the right there, and he's going to. I mean, there is out of bounds over there. It sounded like he hit pretty hard, so he might have stuck there, and he's safe. But it'll be a tricky putt, and I don't think he likes it. This is going to be well short of circle 1 and maybe just outside of circle 2.
He didn't like that.
And we see Alex lining up the sidearm. I mean, he does have a helping wind, kind of, but this is far.
As long as he plays it wide enough.
We missed the catch on that one, but I'm guessing he's at best just outside the circle.
Poison ivy ruins the best day outdoors.
Honey, careful. I saw poison ivy.
The rash is ugly, itchy, and spreads quickly. Zanfel's your answer. Skip nutty remedies and expensive visits to urgent care. When you get poison ivy, get Zanfel. No side effects. Safe for kids. Zanfel washes away the toxin that causes the itching rash. Complete relief. Zanfel lets the healing begin. Got poison ivy? Get Zanfel. It works.
See, Paul is a ways outside of circle 2. He still gives it a run. He's so confident with this throw.
And this was a surprising choice to me to see Alex, try to get his sidearm all the way there. Obviously, he knows a lot more about his game than I do. But that seems like a big distance for anybody to get to, much less, somebody throwing sidearm off the tee there. I just know that he has the power to get there with his backhand. So
interesting play.
Yeah, definitely interesting play. As Reed goes in to try to find his drive. And here's Ricky just outside the circle. He makes this putt. He's going to be within 3 shots.
Ricky always talks about momentum. He loves to get momentum and then also have control. And like you said, if he makes this momentum is completely shifted in his favor.
Yeah, and talk about momentum. You see Kevin Jones actually getting within 3 shots of the lead as Reed Friscara hits a kind of a tricky outside the circle putt from the woods. We're kind of used to seeing him kind of line up and be deadly from anywhere. So nice to see him drop that birdie to get to 2 under par. But yeah, Kevin Jones is within 3 of the lead. So this is to tie for second, which he does, and just right on the stripe. And
here we go.
Yeah, momentum's kind of shifting. Like I said, you kind of get the feeling, even us here in the booth, you can kind of get the feeling that, the pressure's on. Macbeth still has a 3-stroke lead, which anybody would love to have at this point. But you just kind of see, that's 4 strokes in 3 holes.
That's quite a move. Here we go into hole 11. We are at the easiest hole on the course, Paul. 300 feet, par 3. We would expect them all to get up and down on this for birdie. Yesterday, we made the same call. Everybody's going to get up and down for birdie, and we did not see that. It actually gave them the hardest time. What do you expect today? I expect Ricky to really put it within reach. He's got the forehand to really control this.
Yeah, I mean, Ricky, this shot's pretty much made for Ricky. He's, he eats holes like this for breakfast. So along with Paul, Alex Russell, I think if I were to call a CTP, I would say it's going to be Alex on this hole. Reed, sometimes it's a little tough to tone down on a backhand shot. As we see Ricky get it, this looks like perfect. Yeah. And that's leaning, but the rope is on the back side of those banners, so that's definitely inbounds. But as I was saying, it's a little bit tougher to kind of tone down on a backhand than it is a sidearm, in my opinion. So okay. I think if anybody was going for this to be difficult, it would be Reed. But I still expect him to put it, well in the circle. I mean, this is one of those basic holes. And he makes good from, 300 feet, puts that right where he needs to. That's going to be a drop-in birdie. Go in the hole. Nope. I called it a Russ to have the CTP on this hole.
He's got some work to do now to get CTP.
On, buddy. I still think he's got a good shot. And that looks good.
Oh, by a foot.
And Reed ends up taking CTP on this one, and they all making the hole look pretty easy. And that's why this is, the number one easiest hole on the course. I mean, Ricky still has, but he's going to take his meter, and him being as big of a person that he is, he might have kind of an awkward stance as far as, not taking his normal stance. But I don't think we should find any problem with him making this from about 20 feet or so.
So Ricky's going to go and he's going to take his relief from the banner.
Straight buckets.
Now we go through the formalities. So we have a star frame. Is that our first star frame?
Is Joey, you're getting it? Joey's, is yours blinking red or solid?
Today, we'll be talking about the Nuke. The Nuke is a wide-rimmed, fast, maximum distance driver. When throwing on a wide-open course with the Nuke, I'm using it to unleash maximum backhand distance potential. Due to its slim profile and wide rim, the Nuke also fits really well in the hand when throwing sidearms. If I'm looking to throw down some boom sauce, I'm going with the Nuke. You can pick one up at Discraft.com or your local disc golf retailer.
Love getting outside and challenging yourself to become better? How about spending time with family and friends, or just marveling at the pure joy of flight? Then you've come to the right place at the right time. Join the PDGA.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10%, also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends. When I need to check the wind,
Coming back from our commercial break, we see Ricky lining up the wide hyzer on the water tower hole, and this looks a bit wide. I don't know if he got the green flag or not. I think he might have, but it was definitely a bit wider than he wanted, I think.
Paul, this plays at 354 feet. It is uphill, so is it pushing more the feel of throwing about 400 feet?
Yeah, probably right at 420, honestly.
Okay.
You're running uphill as well the whole entire time, so it's kind of tough to get that, extra little oomph. But everybody on this card will have no problem getting all the way there, especially this guy who absolutely booms it. And that's perfect. Yeah. And this looks perfect. And then we got to see a good look at where Ricky's drive actually did end up. It looked like he was kind of disgusted with where he threw it, but he's just right at circle edge. Shouldn't be any problems there. And Alex turns this over. But he does get in. Yeah, he does get in bounds, and he'll actually get to take a meter from there, which will be closer to the basket, and have just an outside the circle putt. As we see one of the spotters walk across the screen right there, we want to thank all of the spotters and volunteers for this tournament. Can't say enough about Nate Heinold and the crew that he puts together for this tournament to provide a platform for, I think, right around or over 1,000 players. And who knows how many that's going to bring to the actual town of Peoria, as well as you have family members traveling with them and spectators and all kinds of different things like that. So just, one of the things that makes this town flourish is makes disc golf a big part of their community there.
Yeah, for sure. Having the support system, having people that are willing to volunteer to help make disc golf better is quite an amazing thing. Disc golf really survives right now on people volunteering their time to help everybody.
And Alex is sitting at +1 for the round. So, this stroke could go a long ways heading into, as he misses, but that could have gone a long ways heading into some of the harder, but more scoreable holes, I believe, on this back nine and in this round. And to keep the momentum on Ricky's side, you mentioned that he talks a lot about that, and this is one of those moments to where if he can make this, he'll hold the box going into those holes that I was talking about.
Makes good. Looks very solid. He looks very confident again with his stroke. He had really that one hiccup where he airballed it. And now he's got it back on the stripe.
Yeah, and if he can keep even within 3 strokes going through this round, if he could stay within 3 strokes of Paul, I think that's it. In his mind, that would be a success to kind of break into that lead a little bit. So it's important for him to keep making birdies down the stretch, because being within 3 shots of the lead, I know from my experience that it just gives you the feeling like you have a shot. You can give 3 strokes up on any of these holes as we see them tap in their birdies. All it takes is a little hiccup, and then all of a sudden, like we've seen Macbeth's, at one point I believe he was leading by 8 shots, and now that's dwindled down to 3.
Yeah, tides can turn.
This is the first run IPA.
Come visit us in Bend. You'll get fresh beer. You'll get some hospitality, and I guarantee you'll either see Val, Justin, or I.
Fresh as you can get it, right here.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Hi guys, I'm Alyssa Van Lannen. You've probably seen me hiding in front of the tee pad or laying in the bushes trying to get the best shot. For the best moments in disc golf on and off the course through my photos and videos, check out patreon.com/Alyssa Van Lannen.
What do you think flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. Danny, this is the sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
And we're back here after, the long walk in between tee pads, and we still catch up with the second card here, featuring Chandler Fry right now. Chandler looks like he's put himself in position with a pretty good drive, and this is going to be his second shot going out over the water. And it looks like that's going to be in perfect position. Yesterday we were talking about how distance really doesn't matter on this. It's just on this hole, it's just clearing the water on your first shot, getting into a pretty good position. And then honestly, distance is actually going to get you into a bit more trouble because you only need about 300 feet from there to get into the perfect position. And that's what we see from Drew. We know that he has plenty of power, but he just kind of throws a chip shot from there, right around there, showing some experience on the course. So Drew obviously coming off of his big career win with the Portland Open, and I don't know if they're talking about him possibly faulting or something, or them talking about Andrew Weed's lie here. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like it it looked like the discussion between Drew and the other card mate was of a bit confusion there, but I think they were just talking about Andrew's lie here. His second shot must have gone out of bounds and him not, crest and bounds up there.
Yeah. Like you spoke to a second ago, this hole is really about control, about demonstrating self-control, about demonstrating some humility with the ability to throw far. You just put it where it needs to be, and you'll be able to get down the fairway and play the hole correctly. If you get out of position, you're really going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different storylines that we haven't really touched base on as we see Ricky kind of get ready to throw this tee shot. But there's a lot of notable names that we see are struggling on this course that if you were to ask me before the tournament, who do I think would play very well? And I'll get to those in a second after Ricky throws his tee shot. And Ricky, throws it into a very good position, but we're seeing some notable players such as Simon Lizotte being 3 down for the tournament, Josh Anthon being 3 down for the entire tournament, Chris Dickerson 1 down, Kayla Viska at even par, James Conrad +1. This course is playing extremely hard. Anthony Barilla, I thought might have a good chance, but then him coming in at a +9 right now. So we're seeing that the course really isn't playing that easy. And at the same time, we're seeing other players able to find a way to score as Reed throws that one absolutely perfectly.
That was an amazing shot.
Yeah, great position. I think he'll be able to throw sidearm from there and get himself in position to take dead aim, hopefully. And he gets a favorable little skip off the rocks there.
He said it's an excellent position right there, because now from there you're set to throw the easier shot. You need to have good position to get into position to make a very good upshot.
Yep, and here's Alex lining that up. But what do you think about those other players that just aren't finding their stride here? I mean, Alex, has enough distance to clear in bounds right there. But as they walk, let's talk about those other players. Simon's a past champion here, and it looks like going into tomorrow, he's not going to really have a chance at winning. Josh Anthon as well. Is that because of the difficult scoring conditions, you think? Is it because of maybe pressure they put on themselves? Is it just because this course is really that difficult? Because we're seeing, Kevin Jones is 11 under through 15. So there's people out there able to do this. Yeah. It's just this top 10 leaderboard is just switching constantly. But, Ricky, Kevin, and Paul are kind of pulling themselves away from the field at this point at 16 and 13 under par.
They've got something special going on. We are getting a chance to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, every now and then you find some special sauce. You're able to get out there and score. And all these other players that you talk of, like Simon Lizotte, he has all the power in the world, but sometimes controlling that power and experience, and he knows when to lay up, he knows where to play. But these OBs come into play so quickly. You can be off just a little bit on 1 or 2 holes, and all of a sudden you're 2 or 3 hole shots in the hole going the wrong direction. And if you have 2 or 3 of those holes, it can compound quickly. It's really hard to dig out of these positions you can get yourself into.
Sure.
And emotionally, it's really hard to dig out of those positions. If you have 2 or 3 holes in a row that do that to you, now all of a sudden, like you spoke, these guys are, after this many holes, 16, 13, 10, 9 under par, but they've worked all these holes to keep that with mistakes.
Right.
And so the ability to hold on to those strokes, to keep your composure, and now they just have a lot to dig out. They may have only had a couple tough holes.
Yeah, and as I look at the leaderboard, I see a name, honestly, that I've never seen before at Kyle Opfer. I've never heard that name, but he's 6 down through 17, makes his way into 8th place. And I just had to say that because this is that kind of course. If you're on fire and you're making birdies, you can charge up the leaderboard. Another notable name that I wanted to mention is Eagle McMahon having to drop out of the tournament yesterday. And obviously, nothing but the best to him and his recovery. Awful to see something like that happen, but from the booth, I know that we wanted to mention that and say, we hope he has a quick recovery and for him to get well soon.
Yeah, definitely. Eagle, get well soon. It's really cool that he has his dad he can lean on.
Mm-hmm.
He can reach out at any time and get wisdom from home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really special thing that we get to see there. We have that gift at home. We can reach out and look for wisdom and ask for help. And he's got a really excellent family member there to do that with.
Absolutely. And we saw Terry Miller out there doing some social media and stuff. So I wanted to do a quick plug there. He was able to, get a quick interview with Eagle yesterday during our featured card. And that was nice to kind of get straight from the source exactly what he was feeling on the course. And we had a small backup, so we were able to do that.
I'd like also our viewers out there, our fans that love to play this game, take a note from Eagle, having the wisdom to be able to say, I'm not feeling it today. I don't have to finish. Protect your body. Make sure that you stay healthy. That is one of the biggest keys of this game is, we have now Disc Golf Strong, helping our players get strong, helping them figure out how to keep their body healthy, how to get the muscles that we're not typically using. And here, let's go back to the play.
Yeah, but just get well soon, Eagle, as we see Alex actually hit in bounds here. And I believe he stayed in bounds, but he's going to have a kind of an awkward, I'm not going to say run up, maybe stance. I don't even know if he'll be able to take a run up from where he is there, and that's going to be tough. He has to throw at least, I'm going to say at least 300 feet around over the water to get past those kind of guardian bushes. So let's see what he makes out of this. Yeah, he's going to have a fine run up there. That needs to get legs. And that's going to be borderline out of bounds. I think that one might have been out of bounds, honestly. I'm not sure.
We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, anytime you're coming into that hillside, it's going to take kind of a good break not to hit and then just bounce back into the water.
Rick's shot is high enough. He's put himself in position. The position you're talking about before, you just want to get up on the hill safe so that you can make your next shot.
And Macbeth playing the tee shot very close to that water line as well, but he's going to be able to take a easy run up, and let's see if he can get this wide enough with enough height to, land in the optimal area. And this one's got to get up as well. It had a nice little lift there, and that's going to be in perfect position, Pete. But for a second there, I was a little worried.
That looked worrisome. I'm looking at the water, and it's really doesn't have a lot of movement on it. It doesn't look like the air is moving too hard at this point in the day. So it's making, once again, these guys are going to have a chance to score with decent conditions.
And here's Reed.
Reed falls down. He catches the trees that are guarding.
Yeah, those little bunker trees. Yeah, he definitely fell down. It looks like he's okay. So that's the good news. The bad news is he did throw it straight into those trees, and it can be tough in there. I mean, he's gonna have that's not a short shot into that green. So he's gonna have a tricky situation there. And being left-handed, he's not going to have the option to probably throw backhand there. Having, we saw yesterday a few of the players get a bit left off the fairway and then be in really tricky spots. And what you really want to do is hug that water line so that you're able to put it out over the water, and then it makes that green obviously open up and able to attack.
Currently, Reed is setting tied for 4th. That makes it he's going to have to do something special to make sure he stays there after that shot.
Yeah, now mind you, this is a par 5, so he is going to be able to, if he feels the need to maybe throw putter and lay up and then get up and down from there, he doesn't have to push the envelope. But it seems that when we've seen other players get into like a similar situation as Reed here, it seems like the consensus is on this hole is to push, and let's see what decision he actually makes.
It looks like he has a fairly decent break, not being all the way in the bushes.
Yeah, but he's lining up this sidearm, and he wants to go after it, Pete. If you could be there right now, what advice would you give Reed? Would you tell him, hey man, go after it, or would you say take your medicine, throw putter to the end right there and then get up and down?
I would ask him if he was positively sure this is what he wanted. If he feels like he can make it, I would say make sure you make it.
Safe. Actually, it's leaning on a rock. I'm not gonna say that's safe already, but definitely that's a horrible mistake.
That's a miscue.
Yeah, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. If you're gonna lay it up, like
Make
I
sure
said,
you
distance,
lay it up to the safe place.
Well, distance on this landing area right there really doesn't matter because you have all that room. You want to be short. You don't want to push the envelope because then it makes the upshot a bit harder.
What do you think about Ricky's position here? Is he in the right spot?
He's right at that borderline to where this is a pretty easy shot for him. But if he's any further to the left, I think it gets a bit more tricky. But I think he's going to be fine.
Based on where Alex's disc is, I believe he was safe. He also needs this one to get legs.
I don't know. Alex is living on the edge of this lake line on every single shot. So every time I say he might be out of bounds, he's been in bounds, I think. But
Can't make the call on that one.
But that one's the same way. I think that he's out of bounds. And Ricky puts it. I mean, that's perfectly, very well executed there by Rick.
This angle that Paul's looking at, is it an easier angle to come in, or do you have to be careful of not running too far up the hill now?
No, this is a pretty basic shot for Paul. That's the right play. Miss a bit left and then have 25 feet down the hill. But Paul was in absolute perfect position right there. As they walk up to see if Reed is in fact safe or out of bounds. I think they're just going to say it's safe. Making sure his mini doesn't roll in the water there. I think they called him out, Pete.
That's what I thought I heard.
So yeah, just honestly, a mistake he didn't have to make right there is we've seen that a few times. A player that is just trying to lay up and then throws it out of bounds. And that's what this course will kind of do to you. No shot's easy, I guess.
You can't take any shot for advantage. How do I say that the other way?
For granted.
For granted, thank you. Because each shot has that challenge to it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's looking at, he could have jump putted it in position there.
Mm-hmm.
But he does throw a very good up shot, and he's only going to make bogey there, so it's not, a mistake of a lifetime. He'll be able to come back from that for sure. But as we walk over, who's going to be out? Oh, Alex Russell. We're going to see if, he's been living on the edge, but I just can't imagine that he catches the embankment like that and stays
for
in bounds.
another time.
Yeah, and they're confirming that they're saying it hit right here, but it's probably out of bounds. Or it is out of bounds. So Alex will have to hit this tester putt up the hill for his bogey. No, this will actually be for par, I believe, maybe. Excuse me. So this will be for a par save. A very good putt up the hill. And for as close as he lived on the edge the entire distance of the hole, he's able to take par from there and move on to the next hole. Really no damage done.
Paul makes good, hits the center.
Yeah, and that's a good putt for him to make right there. I mean, we saw him miss a few kind of in the fat of the round there, and Ricky was able to kind of take advantage and get a couple birdies. But now Paul able to make that putt, Ricky able to make his, and as far as first, and look at this streak. 7 birdies in a row for Ricky right there.
That's a streak for sure. Here we are at hole 14, 805 feet. They call it a par 4, OB on the left, OB on the right. They've got to play all along this lake again.
Yeah, really, Pete. The trick is on this hole, as far as the tee shot goes, is it's a low ceiling. And so angle control is going to be very important. A typical mistake that I see is them either missing their angle or missing their height on this one. You don't see a lot of players go out of bounds right into the lake, but you do see a lot of people get the height wrong and kind of hit high on those branches and then knock down early or kick left. Now, if they miss their angle, then you'll see a lot of players go make the fairway, but then kind of leak out left at the end of their flight, and that's where you see the trouble, OB left. So perfect position is to throw a slight flex down there and then keep it low enough to where it really – no, oh, boy. I think that one was – probably going in the lake, so that was probably a good tree hit there.
And here's a chance for Paul really to try and take his lead back.
I mean, he has the lead right now, people.
Yeah, like 2 more strokes.
At least one here. And that does end up safe, but I don't think he likes it. I don't think he likes being that far left. That's going to play as a tricky kind of low ceiling shot to where if he wants to play aggressive, he's going to have to throw a lower shot out over that lake.
Okay.
And then because the basket is actually on that hillside, that embankment to the water is also, you know, a good foot above the water line. So it's tough if you have to throw it low over that lake to get it to come all the way back into the green. As Reed throws the wide hyzer, I mean, that was a really good shot. It looked like he hit his line perfectly, but he still almost made it back to the water line. But he didn't. He's safe, and it'll be interesting to see what he does from there. I have no predictions for Reed's next shot.
This one is looking a little dangerous, and he ends up going out of bounds.
Yeah, and that's the first shot that I've seen actually on our featured card go right and out of bounds into the lake. Yeah, definitely another pretty bad mistake there from Alex.
I'm Matt Paxton, extreme cleaning expert from TV's Hoarders. People turn to me when they have big challenges. When it comes to making commercial and office buildings look their best, big jobs require big help. When you need your cleaning services to keep your employees working in a professional environment, you can count on the Service Master Clean experts to get the job done with consistent, thorough, and absolutely reliable service every time. Service Master Clean, where the experience matters.
Here we are where Rick has squared up the tree. His shot is quite stymied. Paul, how much should he get off, try and grab off? Should he try and get tricky with it?
I mean, that just depends on his, you know, what he's comfortable with. He does have a flex shot here. It looks like he's toned down a bit. I think that's Firebird in his hand. So he's going to try to throw like a baby flex maybe over the corner to possibly go to right around that bush. And he does get it over.
Gotta get up.
Yeah, and he gets around that bush.
Okay.
That's incredible. Wow, I did
really
not think he was actually going for the green there. I thought he was just trying to pitch around. But he lands, looks like about 40, 45 feet.
In Rick range.
And this is where it could get tricky for Alex because he does have the distance to go straight across the lake to this basket. But one thing I want to note about his last few shots is he's been turning a lot of them over and kind of missing that height mark. He's been missing a bit low. So if he does decide to go for this pin.
The other thing about it is he's got a downhill lie, which also tends, if you have a downhill lie, you can pull the shot easier.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of nervous for him right now. Go. And he does throw that one out of bounds again, but he does hit up there about pin high. So he'll have, you know, he does go out of bounds twice, but he still has a putt from about probably circle's edge to 40 feet for bogey. So if he keeps that putter hot, it might not cost him as much. But at this point in the round, Alex is kind of leaking strokes, and, you know, he's dropped off a bit at +2. +2 if he does make that putt.
Yeah. Now Reed has a backhand. It looks like he's going to. Is he going to go more of a hyzer angle and play wide left, challenging the tree line there?
Well, he did throw it close enough to the water line to where he did open up kind of an angle for him to kind of flex over that bush.
But no.
I mean, this is probably going
doing his
too
read thing we've
far.
seen several times.
God, he just has so much power, Pete.
That's unreal.
It's like when I see him line that up, I think, okay, he's gonna take this high kind of stally safe shot, and then he just goes right after it, and that's why he's on this lead card. He's not afraid to be aggressive. And as we switch to Paul's lie, now I realize why he was kind of disappointed after he threw the shot. Is he kind of got snookered up against this oak tree here.
He's looking like for a way to get a backhand out of there, but
it would surprise me if he didn't try to go for this in some way or another.
How far would you say he is from the pin? Because if he goes forehand,
then he's just going to lay it up to that other tree over there probably. Yeah, if he's not going backhand, he's not going after the pin.
He didn't seem to like it.
He did. He yanked it right out of his hand. Now, if he beats that tree on the left, I don't know. I can't say if he's in bounds or not.
Now, did he throw it out of bounds?
I can't say because
we just didn't get.
It's going to be close. He might have. His reaction told us that he. Obviously he didn't throw a very good shot there. I guess 50-50 shot whether he's in bounds or not. We see, the crowd walking up there, and we see the Jomez crew. Thank you to all our other, obviously, video crews out there who are bringing the world extra coverage and next day coverage and things like that. Without them, the sport wouldn't be where it is right now. And so, obviously, thank you to all the other crews that are working hard hours to bring the world great coverage as we see them go over there. I thought I saw something to where he did land in bounds. He hit that oak tree and kind of fell straight down. And
it looks like he's in bounds. I was worried for a moment. If he goes out of bounds, the momentum swing once again goes to Rick.
And that's fine. I mean, that's par. Obviously, he's disappointed because, he threw a pretty good shot and got pinched up against that tree. And then I feel like he threw a really bad shot and then got away with it a bit there to not be out of bounds. So all in all, I think he's never going to be happy with par on this hole. But for the things that happen, I think he'll be able to get off this hole, least damage done. And unfortunately, Alex does miss that putt, and he'll have that putt left for double bogey.
Just a bit low for Rick.
And you can see the disappointment in him and just his body language there. He's staring it down. That was to bring the round within two, which, as we started the round, I know that me and you had mentioned that this is Paul's tournament. And then now all of a sudden Ricky makes that putt. He's within two. And then, we have a different discussion going on. But I mean, the reality of it is he did miss, and Paul maintains a 3-stroke lead. You know, Reed this whole entire round, it's been fun to watch because he's been bordering on just straight chaos, I feel like. And then he's been throwing these miraculous 550-foot shots and then making these big putts. And he's been just kind of hanging around right at about fourth place. And every time I think, all right, here it goes. He surprises us with another spectacular play. This has been super entertaining, and Reed Friscara is gaining fans as we speak.
Here we're moving to hole 15, par 3, 315 feet. You want to get out. You need to beat this tree on the right. It's mandatory. You have out of bounds on the left. And then when you climb up to the top of the hill here, you have the basket elevated.
Yeah, and this comes in as a third easiest hole, tied with another one. Obviously, there's OB to be had, but with the sidearm that Alex has, with the sidearm Paul has, with the sidearm that Ricky has, and the backhand that Reed has, this doesn't seem like that tough of a hole to me, coming, with this group coming in here.
They should be able to make quick work of it.
Yeah, I mean, at least give themselves, inside the circle or just right outside the circle. At least get into some sort of scoring position, as we pull up the leaderboard right here. And we see Kevin Jones in with a 12 under par. That's going to be the hot round of the tournament. And with the change to the bridge hole, making this a new course, that's going to be your new course record. And he's been making quick work of a lot of these courses. We saw him go on a crazy birdie streak in Portland, taking a course record. And now we see him at Ledgestone taking a course record. Without a doubt, Kevin Jones is probably top 4 most talented players under 25 years old.
He's something to see.
And here's Reed lining up. I would say just a basic hyzer, but he might, try some crazy flex shot or something that we're not used to seeing. You never know with this guy. And this looks perfect.
Very good. Yesterday, this is where we saw Brian Earhart struggle a little bit. And he's a lefty, and it's really good to see Reed absolutely make a beautiful shot.
And this is surprising to me. I mean, Ricky has all the distance and power to throw a sidearm up there, but then he scares the basket on an anhyzer there and puts himself in the circle. And Macbeth lining up an anhyzer too. And this is just a surprising play to me because the hole and the shape of the green just kind of line up for that sidearm,
They both have such good sidearms.
And he's throwing his Luna. And this looks good as well, Pete. That's a putter, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
mean. That's what that is.
He gets mean points.
And here's at least one of my predictions were true. Alex lining up the sidearm. And this looks good as well. Oh, no. And he catches that last branch. And he'll be just outside of circle 2 there.
After catching that low branch off of his sidearm shot and tee shot, Alex is laid up. He'll be just getting out of here with a par, Paul.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to be disappointing. You know, he has all the power and the skills, plus the accuracy with that sidearm to put himself in scoring position. Just hangs it a bit out, a little bit too wide, and catches that branch, shoves him straight to the earth, and has to settle for par. And Ricky just missed a putt down the hill on the last hole. This is, in my opinion, he needs to make this putt.
He did.
Very good putt. Solid stroke. Didn't take much time on the stripe. And now Macbeth to answer. And answer he does.
Paul, we're on hole 16. It's coming in at the 12th most difficult. 606 feet, par 4. Talk to us about what you need to do off the tee shot and where we're going after that. We have this pole over here is mandatory.
Yeah, you really want to throw it down just right down the middle. And obviously a perfect spot would be to get around the corner, around that bush line to where you have an easier shot into the green, which is guarded by this kind of low hanging branches. You do have OB left the whole entire way. So if you do catch, you know, one of the middle trees in the fairway and kick left, that's definitely can be the danger on this hole. We've seen in the past rollers, you know, get all the way down there and have looks for eagle. We've seen backhand turnovers, we've seen sidearms. Every time I've made a prediction today, they haven't done it. So I'm not going to say what I think they're going to do. But I do know that this hole is very scoreable. One thing I do want to talk about, though, is Reed Friscara. He's now at 12 under par, Pete. The leader is at 18 under par. He is well within striking distance now, and it's official. He has become a force at this tournament. And he throws another good shot, and he's just off that bush line. He should have a shot into the green. I mean, he has just come on fire, and all of a sudden, unassumingly, with these miraculous shots, in contention. And this is
what you were speaking of.
And he gets a good reaction off of that.
Favorable kick.
Yeah, good reaction off the bush line. That's still going to be tricky, but he's bit off so much distance with that roller that he should only have 200 feet into the pin. And this looks like a similar line as Ricky. Let's see if he can get a better reaction. And his kind of gets in there. So
yeah, it takes a bit of it.
Ricky takes a good kick. Paul doesn't, you know, get a good reaction off that bush line, depending on how far he is. You know, he's at about 250, 200 feet as well, but he might be a bit deep into that bush. Alex does catch a high branch there, but he sits down in the fairway. He'll be looking right at about 350 feet into the green, so he will have a shot still to make birdie here, Pete.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Jones. I'm here with my brand new Prodigy VP3 V2 backpack, and I'm loving this thing a lot. It's extremely lightweight. It's carrying all the discs I could ever ask for. It's pretty sturdy and durable. I've got my 2 putters up here, no problem. Room for a towel if need be. It's really lightweight, it's extremely efficient, and for all you, it's extremely affordable, so come check it out.
Here we are with where Alex's tee shot has landed. He's taking his forehand as a flex line to the basket. Looks like he's just pitched it into the fairway, Paul. Speaking of what you were saying a minute ago, you know, Reed Fiscura has just, it seems like he's making mistakes, and he's made a few, but every time he does it, he throws a miraculous shot. He keeps us entertained, and I've said wow at least 5 times this round.
Yeah, I want him to stay on this card for us tomorrow, honestly.
This is going to be quite an entertaining thing. If he remains at 12 under, he's in scoring position right now.
I mean, he's going to need to get a couple birdies down the stretch to maintain that 4th place position. He looks a bit confused with his lie right now. He might just be a bit too close for comfort on this bush line. But I mean, like you said, he keeps making these little mistakes, but then as soon as we're like he's in trouble, he makes a miraculous shot and he gets up and down for not only par, but we've seen him get up and down for birdie from crazy distances away. So definitely anxious to see what he does here. Love it.
I find it entertaining.
I mean, not much else you can say about that. Just a quality shot. I mean, he even caught almost a bad break off of that branch, and it probably cost him about 3 feet, but he's right at circle's edge, and so far he's showed us that that's not a problem for him.
You know, he has the potential, if he can make this birdie and get the next 3, I mean, we're asking for the next 3, he can get himself to 15, and that's a superb score that keeps him close.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would, you know, be averaging 7 down, 8 down, and that's what we said at the beginning of this round, that kind of the mark that you would have to get to be kind of in contention at the tournament. Someone just disappeared into the bushes, though. Is there somebody in there?
Is there a house in there?
I think Macbeth's in there, so. Oh, no. This is not good. And he's going to be looking at, you know, he's so far in these bushes, Pete, he's going to be looking at a tomahawk out straight up over. Now, mind you, there is a mandatory, I think he might have went a little,
he's before the Mando.
Is he?
Yeah,
So
Rick's shot was ahead of him and near a sign that pointed Mando.
I don't know if I like the play of the tomahawk, because if you don't, you know, get the full flex, left is out of bounds. Looks like they said nice out, so he's inbounds, successfully making the mandatory. Rick gets that nice kick off the bushes, and now he's, you know, he even has the stance to where he's able to go sidearm. Let's see if he still goes with the sidearm.
Now, this to me seems somewhat like an awkward stance for a sidearm.
Yeah, but I mean, he has the power to do this, and yeah, right there, that's going to be money. It's official. Wysocki's going to be within 2 strokes going into the last 2 holes of this second round, Pete. As Macbeth throws it in from the fairway to just make me wrong again.
We could only hope. Alex gets it right into the bucket. He's going to have a tap in.
Oh no, he has a putt.
He has a putt.
Oh boy.
I've seen this enough times to know that.
Don't say it, Pete. And it's in. And Paul gives it a nice run there, but
there's a reason why he's one of the most entertaining golfers.
Yeah, if not the most entertaining.
How many people do we know on tour that we look at that shot and go, well, we have a pretty high percentage of that going in.
Yeah, only a couple, that's for sure, maybe 3. And here's Reed, right outside the circle, on cue.
Yes.
Straight buckets. He has a smooth putt.
That was clean.
I know we're still on hole 16, Pete, but I can't help but feel anxious about the next hole. Is Reed gonna skip it off the water?
I haven't seen that play yet.
He did. Oh man, I'm smiling ear to ear right now, just in anticipation of him possibly doing it.
Hole 17, 300 feet. You have to clear the water. There's OB behind the basket. It's a pretty standard shot for every one of these players. It's just a matter of if they can keep their nerves in check, if they can match their airspeed to the airspeed of the wind around them, and just they have to get in bounds. Now, Paul, you said that Reed has been known to skip off the water. I sure hope we get to see that today.
Yeah, I mean, if I was him, I definitely wouldn't.
I wouldn't call it airspeed then, because we're talking about flying in the air. He's taking boat speed.
Yeah. Oh man,
we're gonna convert it into knots.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the real tough thing about this hole is the pressure of the tournament. You have the whole gallery. This is kind of like, okay, it's just distance control. That's all it is. Take whatever disc in your bag that you throw at this distance and throw it with a good amount of power.
Where was the skip?
I don't even want to talk about it. The whole round I was waiting for him to skip off the water, and then he just throws a perfect shot onto the island. And here's Ricky absolutely parking it. Okay, so here's the reality of it. Macbeth misses this island. We have a tie game up at top of the leaderboard, Pete. Looks like he's lining up his signature zone here. makes the island, he's going to maintain that 2-stroke lead going into hole 18, as long as nothing crazy happens with those little 15-footers. I would love to see Alex give this a little ace run here.
To give the fans something to just shout about.
Especially with the round that he's had, it would just be nice for him to scare this basket. But instead, he's going to give himself a little circle's edge putt. Everybody's safe. That's good. And we're going to take a commercial break. Alec Russell with a nice stroke from just inside the circle. And that's one that he really needed. I mean, he didn't have his greatest stuff today, Pete, but he battled the whole entire round, still battling, makes a good putt there to get to +2 on his round. Not not his best, like I had mentioned before, but we're seeing a lot of scores right around that number. Obviously, we're seeing something special on the card with Ricky being 11 under right now and about to tap in for 12. So it makes that +2, look that much worse. But as we look at the field and compare his score to the field, he's sitting right about average.
And what I will call a good birdie, but a disappointing birdie for the fans, because we were all wanting to see his skip shot. But he is really, really hanging out and keeping it entertaining.
We're going to see a star frame on hole 17. Hole 18, Pete. Par 4, 711 feet. It says 711 feet, but in all reality, this is playing a bit further because as you come down this fairway, on every shot that you throw, unless you get left side on your second shot, you're having to deal with a low ceiling the entire length of the fairway. And that, I feel like, is what the trick is. In the past, we've seen rollers off the tee, sidearms, backhands. We've even seen big backhand turnovers left to right over the water. But 18 is no gimme. It's a tough hole coming in at the third most difficult hole on the course. So, and only seeing how many birdies do we have?
Let's see. We've got a dozen or more.
Okay, yeah, we have quite a few birdies on that one, but it's a good get. I mean, I've played the tournament 3-4 years, and I think I don't even know if I've ever gotten a birdie on it. So it plays really tough. As we see the good camaraderie on the tee pad there, with them all telling each other good round and pleasure to play with you and such. We even see Ricky, talk to good friend Pete Cashin right there, and keeping it loose and keeping it friendly with the crowd. We see the nice banner back there in the background that says Discraft, which is one of the main sponsors here at the Ledgestone, who has a great relationship with Nate Heinold and the Ledgestone tournament. And so thank you to them.
Ricky seems to be lining up the roller.
Yeah, and we've seen him do that in the past. It's really the play, because you see that mandatory there on the right side with the sign right below on that tree. If you can get the roller to land in the middle between those trees, it kind of cuts with the fairway, and you can kind of bite off a lot of distance and not have to worry about that low ceiling I was talking about.
Ricky getting called off. Reed says, "It's my box."
Always a gratifying feeling when you take a 2-time world champion and say, not your turn, buddy. And this is an interesting play. We see Reed just take mid-range off the tee, and I'm wondering, is he trying to lay that up so that he can go big, wide hyzer out over the water for his second shot? Curious. This is an absolute boomer.
Wow. Kaboom.
And Sidoink. That's going to be tough, but he's actually going to have a route out over the water to the left that I was talking about, and might be able to play something from left to right into that green. It's a dangerous shot, but he still has that option. And this is going to be in danger of going right side too high. That depends. I mean, that might be short enough and right enough to have kind of that straight low ceiling kind of flex shot into that green. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of position Paul's put himself in. Quality shot there from Alex. Yeah, it looks like we're at Reed's drive right here. Like I said, he took mid-range and just kind of pitched it out there in the fairway. And I'm not sure what the play is from here. It looks like he's even a little bit confused, trying to, shuffle through his discs. This is the orange aggressive disc. I've seen him throw it this round, and this is not a little baby shot disc. This is going to be a big shot. All right, Reed, what have you got for us? pretty good. I mean, if he could have flattened that out a little bit more, I think he could have got a good extra, 30, 40 feet of distance, but he's right.
At his place, he's been making them.
I mean, he has the option. That's a scary putt running down the hill to finish your round. And here's Alex playing that sidearm. And Alex is going to be able to get his round back to only a +1. Hats off to him. Battling the whole time and then being able to get birdie on 17. Assuming he makes that make birdie on 18. 18 is no picnic. And so he's going to pop in a little +1 here, and obviously not the score that he wanted, but it could have been worse.
Is that there, or is this this? Is this all the whole, just the rocks, or just that?
Well, that's marked, so
Right.
I would assume that would have to be.
Okay, that's what's marked.
Okay. Looks like they might be discussing whether it's just the swing set itself that's out of bounds or if it's this whole entire rock area.
It's this other place.
And it looks like he's doing the right thing. The player always has a right to play provisional and play it two different ways if there is confusion on the card whether or not he's in bounds or if he missed mandatory or if he, is playing from an illegal lie or something to that nature. So the one thing we can note is this is on little rock pebbles. So this is not going to be an easy stance.
It's going to be quite slippery.
And it looks like he's going to try to play this low flex shot. And I believe the reason he's playing this is because if he gets that on Anheuser-P, he'll be able to kind of crest and maintain that slope on the hill. And then as soon as it gets to stable, he might have an angle of to be able to skip up maybe towards circle edge or something like that. And he gets it low. It needs this. Yep. And so, right. I mean, that's as good as you could really do from there. That was a beautiful shot from Paul.
Gives himself circle's edge just above the basket.
And I'm going to assume that was safe because I don't see any markers or anything like that. So that would be a pretty big mistake from the Ledgestone staff not to make that really,
obvious,
visible and obvious with some paint or something. And here's Ricky with that aggressive play. And it looks like he yanks it just a little bit.
And he yanks it right to 20 feet.
Yeah, it looks like he got through those trees. Now, if, we were talking about Kevin, taking the course record here.
If Reed puts this in.
If Ricky puts this in, it's now his course record. Yeah. At 13 under par. With 1 par on the back nine.
If you guys wanted to see good golf,
congratulations.
You tuned into the right one.
And here's Paul playing that provisional shot from behind this rock area just in case it was out of bounds. He'll be playing the exact same shot, though. But this time he's going to run up because he's not teeing off from those marbles. Almost the same exact spot. 2 really quality shots from there. That is not easy.
Paul, Reed is sitting at 14 under total. He just needs to get up and down here, and he remains on the lead card.
I mean, he's tied with Kevin right now, and Kevin's at 14 under. So if he just takes par, he's going to stay on the lead card, and then we'll have a lead card of Paul, Ricky, Reed, and Kevin. As we go down the leaderboard, we see, it's funny, we've been seeing Andrew Murweedy go in and out of the top 10, but now he's back into the top 10, and these are going to be your official scores with AJ Risley, who's been no stranger to the top 10 of these big tournaments, and then Jeremy Coling with a phenomenal round of 7 under par. Drew Gibson, scrapping out a nice 5 under to go to 10 under on the tournament. Garrett Girthy, and all of a sudden, this picture that was getting painted is becoming more and more clear to us. Who we're going to be seeing tomorrow and featuring on not only our live broadcast, but our other featured cards as well.
Yeah.
What do you think? The only way Reed doesn't get on the lead card is if he runs this and something horrible
Throws it
happens.
in the water and then misses.
I'm going to say he's just going to make it. Come on, buddy.
He wants it.
And he's a little bit disappointed there, but
he retains his spot.
Yeah, I mean, he shot a phenomenal round today.
Very scrappy, phenomenal round.
Like he does it for a living.
He's going to ask himself to clear it, and then he's going to go
see if he can make two in a row. And if you don't like that, you don't like disc golf.
Paul just shot. Basically, it's either going to end up being a 9. Is that a birdie and a par? Rick is going in. Rick makes a great putt. And now Rick will go to 14.
That'll be 13 under on the round.
13 under.
And so it depends on if Ricky or if Macbeth was safe on that little playground area. If he was safe, he'll maintain that 2-stroke lead over Ricky. If he was out of bounds, then the lead will be cut to 1, and that'll depend on, I guess the call on the course. Whatever Nate intended for that to be, then it will be, as we see Reed tap in for a really great round.
And Alex also finishing off the hole correctly. He had a rough go of it, but he's pulled himself together, and I believe that was a birdie for this last hole.
Yeah, so Pete, it was interesting. The first part of the round, we saw Macbeth have complete control over the card. He built his lead up to, I think, about 8 strokes. And then as we got into the meat of the course, we saw Ricky kind of get on a run, and it became kind of a 2-horse race. And then as the round unfolded, we had other storylines kind of pop up as Kevin Jones was playing a phenomenal round. And then towards the end, we see Macbeth and Ricky kind of exchanging blows, and Kevin Jones making that jump to the lead card as we see the leaderboard. And now we know for sure who we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing Paul Macbeth, Ricky Wysocki, Kevin Jones, and Reed Friscara on our featured card tomorrow, with Emerson Keith only 1 back of Reed and Kevin. We're seeing a lot of golf, and I'm saying, as we saw today, Macbeth had a 7-stroke lead, or 8-stroke lead at one point, and they were able to dig into that lead.
So now we get our Paul and Ricky battle.
Yeah, but I'm going to say even somebody as far as 7 back, if they can pop off of 15, 14, which we saw was definitely doable today, we could see all kinds of people have an outside chance at winning this tournament.
For sure, especially with the way that the middle part of the round lulled for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Reed got up and down on a lot of places that was absolutely wild and phenomenal. And here we said he's going to be on our card again. It's going to be an entertaining round tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely a lot of other notable scores out there. We see Jeremy Colling jump into the top 10 there with a 7 under par, and I believe we're waiting. Actually, we might have Ricky maybe about to give us an interview, and that'll give us a little more insight onto how he's actually feeling coming off of this course record-breaking performance.
And we're going to go over here to the interview with Ricky Wysocki momentarily.
Yeah, in just 1 second. Also noting Garrett Gerthy with an 8 under round and push him to 11 and in 6th place. So let's get right over to Ricky and Terry.
Good. Thank you. Let's do this. Sounds good. Hey everyone, welcome back. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. I'm joined with Ricky Wysocki. Ricky, you were down 6 going into today. You closed the gap to just 2. How does that feel?
Feels great. I mean, obviously coming into the final day, being down 2 versus 6 is definitely a big confidence booster. So I know today I catch them all, but I was just, I wanted to get a handful, and I pretty much did that.
Well, speaking of a handful, you got 5 down on the front 9, and then you went 8 for 9 on the back, and you almost even scrambled into a birdie on hole 14. What was clicking for you?
Yeah, my swing has been really good lately. I've worked a lot of things out, and I feel like my timing's really good right now, and I feel like my shots are just coming out really clean, and I think it just translated out here. It's really a thrower's course, and I hit all my putts inside the circle, so it's a good recipe for a good score on moving day.
So some people have talked about righty versus lefty favor. Well, you throw from both sides essentially. Do you feel like you lean any one way or another out here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the holes, a backhand is hyzer and away from the water on a lot of holes, but at the same time, there's definitely a place for a sidearm that also favors the left or right away from the water. So having both shots, hyzer and away from the water makes a big difference into these sloped fairways and trying to avoid the water as much as possible.
Now, I don't want to sound like a downer, but tomorrow we're looking like it might be inclement weather yet again. How do you prepare for that?
Well, I've prepared in the past. I feel like I'm a veteran as far as the bad weather goes. I've played in it a lot, and I know what I need to do, and I know how to manage the conditions to play to the best of my ability given the day. So I just feel like I'm gonna go back to what I know and what I've played in the past, and a lot of towels, and just have a good mindset. Don't be a Debbie Downer like you said, and get too depressed about the weather. So I'm just excited to give myself a chance to win, and no matter what the conditions are.
Well, you guys have pulled yourself away from 3rd place. You're 4 clear of 3rd and beyond. So right now it's looking pretty good between you and Paul. They don't call him Raincoat Ricky. Well, I know we do. Call him Raincoat Ricky for nothing. We're going to send it back to you guys in the booth. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you on Championship Sunday out here at Lake Eureka.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Come back to the booth here. There's a few key points that Ricky pointed out in his game right there, Pete. He said his swing is feeling really good and that this is a thrower's course. There's a lot to be said about that. When somebody of his caliber who is predominantly known as
he has all the tools.
Yeah, but he's predominantly known as, one, if not, now I'm going to just say it, the best putter in the world. And so if his swing's feeling good, he's going to be dangerous on a course like this, as he shows us this round. Another great point that Terry made was tomorrow there could be some bad weather. He's brought the lead that Paul had down to 2, which means it's anybody's game, especially with the weather coming in. It's just been awesome to see, what better situation for us and the viewers at home. Of course, Paul wants to be 6 clear of the field, but
the field, they've got they're clear of the field by a couple strokes, as they were just saying. But no, we get to watch golf. We get to watch somebody fight for that win again, as opposed to Paul running out ahead, and us get to just discuss what's going on who's fighting for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Thank you to Johnny and over there cueing everybody to do what they're supposed to do, all the camera crew, especially all the volunteers, all the sponsors, and
I can't wait for tomorrow, and we'll catch you then. I'm Paul Uliberry. This is Pete. We'll see you.
See you guys.